What's up, good people? It's me, your friend, your brother, Cheston Green, and I am so excited tonight. Tonight, as usual, it is ID Talks. So listen, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure you also hit the like button, all right? Tonight we have a special guest, my friend, my brother, Jonathan McGhee. Um, he is a lot of different things, but we'll get into that in a few minutes. But before we go there, um, I just want to share. So again, I'm your friend, your brother, your cousin, your nephew, your favorite artist. If I'm not your favorite artist, you need to make me your favorite artist. All right. Cheston Green, and welcome to ID Talks. This show is a place where we link up with creatives who are believers to discuss purpose, calling, and identity. And so tonight, I want to start with the creative corner. Tonight's creative corner is just a phrase that came to me today. Today, I was um, in the gym, and I was struggling my workout. I did not feel like working out. I was exhausted and drained from my day, and I really just wanted to go past Rita's, give me a blendini, come home to the house, and go to bed. And when I got in there, I was like, okay, Chesney, you gotta pull it up. You gotta get it out the mud. You were telling the people the other week they had to like dig deep. And so as I began to continue lifting, I started thinking to myself, you can either be defeated by the day, or you can defeat the day. And so tonight I want to encourage you to make that choice. You have to choose, you have to make the decision. Am I going to defeat the day, or am I going to be defeated by the day? So listen, I'm going to hop over here to my handy dandy notebook, aka my cell phone. And I want to read to you guys about my brother, my friend Jonathan, who is with us tonight. So Jonathan is coming to now, y'all. First of all, we've been having the same, or not necessarily the same, but very similar styles of creative. So the first season was, I want to say, all singers or all musicians. And then the second season ended up being starting out with like musicians. And then last week we had my sister and my friend Ashley, Dr. Ashley Love Simmons, who is a therapist and is also a creative. She has her own merch line. We talked about that, and we talked about that she used. Well, when I met her, she was a poet. She still writes some poetry. But tonight is the first time we're actually having um, a actual author. So can y'all clap it up? Come on, I can't hear you. Clap louder, louder. That's weak. Oh, there we go. Okay, I can hear you. I can hear you. Okay, yes. So tonight we have an author. I'm going to read a part of his bio. Um, he was reared under the tutelage of his father, the late Superintendent G. McGhee. Elder Jonathan K. McGhee is an ardent student of the Word and an educator and the son of the Church of God in Christ, holding a bachelor's degree in English from Hunter College. He has been certified in secondary English, adolescent education. Elder McGhee ultimately plans to follow through on his dreams of opening a community development corporation to counteract. Thank y'all for the claps on the side. I see y'all. Uh, corporations to counteract the challenges facing urban youth. He is the husband of Rathea McGhee, my sister, and a proud and nurturing father to two children. Sorry, y'all. I forgot to put all my devices on Do Not Disturb. So I'm starting to get text messages. I'm like, let me mute that now before it starts interrupting. Um, Two children, Max and Cadence. He strives to be a shining example of a man of integrity. I see you. I see you right there, Nisi. Uh, Elder McGhee currently resides in Baltimore, Maryland, where he attends the Carter Memorial Church of God in Christ under the leadership of Bishop Carl A. Pierce. Lock In Tactical Approaches to Surviving Everyday Devils is the first book of the Lock In series. In short, it is the coming of age tale of a preacher's kid struggling with overcoming insecurities and ultimately accepting the call of God. Y'all, this is my friend, my brother, Jonathan McGhee. Y'all give it up for Jonathan. Woo! Jonathan, let's see. Let's unmute you, right? Boom. Oh, you have to unmute yourself. There we go.
Am I good?
Yep, you good to go. What's going on, brother?
Blessings, brother. How you?
Man, I am here.
I hear you. I hear you. Heard that.
That's all that matters, man. Listen, thank you for coming on the show tonight.
It's
I'm
my
really excited
pleasure.
to have you. Um, so for everybody who doesn't know, Jonathan, well, I just guess I just told you he wrote a book, and I don't know if he has it, but I have it right here. It's called Lock In.
Yeah.
I get it without the
Thank you,
glare.
man.
Okay, there we go. So Jonathan has a book out, and before we get started with um, all of the um, discussions about the book, I like to start with an icebreaker. So listen, if you haven't been following me, if this is your first time watching the show, you can go to um, if you're watching on YouTube, you can like it on you can subscribe on YouTube. You can also hit the like button for this actual episode. If you are watching this on Facebook, you can follow me, add me as a friend. I do not bite. I mean, I do bite, only food. But you can add me as a friend. We do this every Wednesday at 8 o'clock from 8 to 9 p.m. And one of the things that I do is I have curated a playlist for creatives. It is called ID Talks Creativity. So if you want to get into, if you like playlists, you like diverse music, you can go to my Instagram account. It's Cheston D Green is my handle, and there you can click on my link tree. In the link tree, there's two links. I have a Spotify link and an Apple Music link because I know some people do not use. Some people don't want to pay for Apple Music. Some people are like I'm not paying for nothing. Some people they just want to use the free Spotify. So you can go to either one of them. Both playlists are identical. But I always start the show with this question because it's how we created this playlist. So, Jonathan, the first question to you for the night is, what is a song that you listen to that gets your creative juices flowing? Or tell us a song that encourages you when you're going to keep you going when you're feeling frustrated.
Thank you. I do have a song that I've used to listen to, and I still listen to it. It's been like 12 years since I started listening to this song called "Nothing Impossible" by Mally Music,
Okay.
and it's from one of the early Mally Music albums. I probably the first one, and it's
Okay.
got like a techno thing to it,
I'm about to
and
check it right now because I think I know what you're talking about, but I want to make sure I
yeah,
can put it on the playlist. I actually think I had because it was on like a mixtape.
okay. Oh, either there's nothing impossible or nothing too hard.
I think too hard. I knew what you was talking about.
Uh,
um, Molly. Boom, I got it. All right, so you
yeah.
guys, that song will be added to the playlist. So listen, I also want to tell this. I always give this disclaimer. This playlist is a playlist of different types of music. It is all clean. Nothing is X-rated or inappropriate. However, it is not all gospel music. So if you are offended by it, either skip it or don't download it. It's up to you. Do as you will. However, whatever your convictions lie. But it is a positive playlist. It's something that I just thought would be cool for creatives to get into. So thank you, Jonathan, for that ad. Oh, let me put Molly music because I have a tendency to be like, I have to text you later and be like, no, who was the song by?
James Cleveland. No, I'm
So I got it.
joking.
Nothing Too Hard by Molly Music. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're about to get into this game. So I always start to show off with a game. I start off with the icebreaker question and then we play a game. So Jonathan, your tonight's game is called Jonathan Spins or
Mhm.
Scratch. Okay.
Mm.
I'm
Okay.
going to give you two MCs. So if you guys don't know, Jonathan is originally from Brooklyn. Is it Brooklyn?
I was born in Brooklyn, and most of my life I lived in Queens.
Okay. I knew it
So
was one of the
yeah,
I ain't
I'm
want to jack
claiming
it up.
both. I'm claiming
Okay.
both.
So Jonathan is from New York.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For real.
And when I met Jonathan through his now wife. She is a dear sister of mine, my big sister, Raythea. Shout out to her. She's watching. Raythea, make sure you tell all your cousins, because you got a lot of cousins like I do. Tell all them come watch, tune in. But I met him through her. And one of the things that we talked about was his love of music. And so I thought, being the person that you are, and one
Yeah.
of the things she was like, I really loved it, like how he likes all different types of music. He likes the beats, and she was just breaking it down. I was like, let's see who he would say he would spin or scratch when it comes to some of the hip hop artists. So in this game, you get two options. I'm gonna give you two artists. You're gonna
Hmm.
tell me which one you're gonna spin and which one you're gonna scratch.
Okay.
So your first one, this is a soft test, just to make sure you got it right. or not necessarily
Okay.
get it right is your opinion, but so that you get
Okay.
the premise of the game. You have Tribe Called Quest
Uh-huh.
and Wu-Tang Clan.
Uh-huh.
Who are you scratching? Who are you spinning?
So that's a difficult one, all right, because they two different vibes in my opinion. So Tribe Called Quest is more like for that mellow type vibe, that Bonita Applebum, that those type of that kind of laid back chill vibe. Wu Tang Clan, I can't listen to Wu Tang nowadays. I ain't gonna lie, it'd be taking me back into some. But that's a difficult one. I ain't gonna hold you. That's I kind of let me see. I probably would go Wu Tang more, and
Okay.
if not the Wu Tang as a group, Wu Tang as in its individual artists. Like I'm a Ghostface Killer connoisseur. I am. I'm a fan of Method Man, like most other people. I'm a big fan of the RZA, Jizza, ODB. Now I'm going through the whole list. I'm sorry, but yes.
So who are you? So you're who are you spinning then? Who are you scratching?
All right, I probably spend some Wu Tang.
All
Yeah,
right, so he's spinning Wu Tang. He's scratching a Tribe Called Quest. All right,
yeah.
Jay Z or Nas? Jay Z and Nas. Who are you
Come
spinning? Who are
on
you
now, come
scratching?
on now, come on now. Now, see, all right. I'm gonna have to go with Nas. Not even just to answer this question because I got rep Queens. You know, I got to rep Queens. And so yeah, Nas, I'm spinning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right there, we know you don't know any of these people. Amen.
Hey man, he says.
All right, here goes your next one. Now she might know
Yeah.
this one. Ice Cube and Dr. Dre. Who are you spinning? Who are you scratching?
Okay, so if it's beats produced by Dre, I probably would go with Dre. If it's songs like produced and performed by Dre, then I'm gonna pick Ice Cube. I feel like Ice Cube is a legit lyricist. You know what I mean? So yeah, yeah.
So what I'm
It,
hearing you
it
say is you're spinning Ice Cube and you're scratching Dre.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's
Okay.
yes. See, this is
That's,
a question that I'm like deeply interested, so it's hard for me to give you very simple answers.
and that's what we're going for. We want you
You
to
know
be
what I mean?
interested in these questions.
All right, I'm with it. I'm with it.
All right. So the next one, Lil Wayne or Eminem?
Wayne. Yeah, that's a no brainer.
We spinning Wayne. We scratching Eminem. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Now, I wanna set it up. I chose these two artists because they both have the immaculate ability
Hmm.
to uh, fire lyrics
Hmm.
at the time as fast as a machine gun.
Oh, okay.
So we have Busta Rhymes and Twister.
Yeah.
Who you
I
spinning?
gotta go. Sorry to cut you off. It hit my heart right away. Uh, Nah, I gotta go with Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes, and I don't know, one of my hip hop aficionados may see this. So he did an album back in '99 called Extinction Level Event, and that was a life changer for me. So I mean, if if you're familiar, then you understand where I'm coming from. So I'm spinning that for
Okay.
sure.
And the old age old question that we all have to always ask, and I already know where you're going, and this is just where we just
Okay,
agree to disagree in the matter of being friends and brothers. Is
gotcha.
Tupac or Biggie?
All right. So, okay. Again, this is kind of like the Tribe Called Quest Wu Tang question because it all depends on the vibe. Now, see, you probably thought I was going to say Tupac right away.
No, no, no. I thought you was gonna say Biggie because you're from New York.
All right. See, nah. Okay. So here's the thing. Tupac has a few songs that like were life changers for me. Like he had a song called "Where There Ever Be Peace" back in the day, and he had another song that was called "Teardrops and Closed Caskets." I mean, you Google these songs, they just poignant. They just get through. And he also has songs like "I Ain't Mad at You." Like he had them deep songs. I can't even. if I was, and I'm not, but if I was trying to turn up, uh, I would have to put Biggie on because he's more, turn up. I don't need to be necessarily, in a situation like that, which I'm not. I'm not trying to be in love. I know my wife is listening, like, what are you talking? All right. So if I was trying to, turn up, it would have to be Biggie because he got hypnotized. He got more money, more problems. He got just too many bangers. But Tupac got them songs like, if I'm writing a poem about, Black History Month, I might have some Tupac playing, that type of thing.
Okay, okay. Well, Jonathan, I have to say, nothing stumped you. So let's give Jonathan a round of applause, guys, in the comments for his great execution of the game, spin or scratch. Um, I'm going to take a quick segue. If you have not already noticed, I have on this lovely blue shirt tonight, and this shirt says "Your love is my therapy." So I've been telling you guys that I had new merch out, and it is finally here. So listen, if you're into this merch, if you like this shirt, it comes in all different colors. It comes in green, black, pink, and this lovely blue. And if you would like to purchase one, you can go to my website, ChestonTheGreen.com. That is ChestonTheGreen.com. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put it in the comments for you just so you can make sure you get it. And when you go to that website, you can purchase your own shirt. All right. So ChestonTheGreen.com. So, Jonathan, we're gonna hop into this interview, brother. I
I
always
like
ask
that.
you the same questions every interview because I love to hear from different creatives, just to hear their own expression, their own deliberation, their own intellect, or how they share their thoughts on these things. Because this show is called ID Talks, we always talk about identity. So I want to open the floor or open the interview with this first question. What does identity mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, identity to me means like, and it's an interesting question. I think about your driver's license is an identification card of sorts. So when you get a driver's license, it says a lot about you. Sometimes it says if you have some kind of like stipulation where you got to wear corrective lenses. It says your height. It says your weight. I think it says your weight. It definitely says your height. It talks about the color of your eyes. It identifies you with a state. So when I think of the concept of identity, I just really think of like, who do you see yourself associated with, and what do you see are those characteristics about you that are unchanging. And I think that's why they put the things that they put on there, like your height, because your height's really not going anywhere, and you're not going to add a few inches to it. So, and the color of your eyes, unless you put some contacts in, they're going
Hmm.
to stay the same. And after a while, you're gonna have to take some contacts out, and the natural color of your eye will be there. So it's in part, just those things about you that cannot change. And it's also who you're associated with. Because right now, I have a Maryland license, and I really wish I had my New York City license, my New York State license at times. But I'm not in that season of my life anymore.
Mm.
And so now, I'm identified with Maryland, and so I can't, there's a whole set of restrictions. If I drove back home and the police pulled me over, they might say, "Hey, what are you doing out here, man? This is New York." And much in the same way, if I'm in the wrong place, a place that doesn't match with my identity, I may be convicted and wonder, what am I doing in this place?
Woo! Yeah. That's how you want to do it tonight.
No,
That's what
you asked the right one.
that's what you like.
You asked the right
Uh,
question.
I'm cool with it. If that's where you want to go tonight, I am cool. I had to get close out. If that's where you want to go, so I got an array of answers, and I feel like every time I talk to a different creative, I get a different answer that I'm always not just impressed but impacted by. You
Bless you.
said that your identification, your ID, sometimes tell us who you are affiliated with, or who you are connected to, or who you are associated with, and I think that's really important because I think sometimes um, I can say for myself as a person um who prides myself in knowing who I am and who God has made me to be.
Yeah, yeah,
I know that God has called me, created me, and made me to be this person, and I'm
yeah,
clear about that. But I think what you just reminded me is that I am associated with Him because I'm saying He's the one that made me. I'm saying
yeah,
I'm made in His image. I was born in, we know we're born in sin, shaped in iniquity. But when we look
yeah,
in Genesis, it tells us that let us make man in our own image.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
it tells me what I'm replicated after, what I am. What I was fashioned after, or like what I was mimicked after, if I'm saying it in the right.
I'm with you. I'm with
Yeah, man, that was good. That was
you.
good. So you're an author. We already kind of expressed that. When did
First
you?
time author. I'm not I don't want to don't I don't want to get on the pedestal. I don't want nobody
Well,
to
I
read
think
my
this.
book.
I think when you kind of do a thing, it
Yeah,
automatically kind of adds to. Now that doesn't mean you have to be that all the time, right? Or that you will
yeah,
um, always be actively doing that. But
yeah, yeah.
let's look at I don't know. I'm trying to think of a one hit wonder. Let's look at Millie and Vanilli. They've only had one album, right, that we know
Right,
of,
right,
but
right,
they're always associated with singing. Actually, they're associated with lip syncing, which is not actually singing; it's to mimic singing.
right,
But we
right,
will
right.
always associate them with singing in the music industry. So,
Indeed.
how with your wife? You're an author. I actually now I'm gonna tell you, brother, my life has been jammed. But I was reading through, kind of skimming through, just to kind of get a good understanding. Because let me tell you about this show. I don't necessarily try to act like I'm an expert at everybody's creative work because it's
Uh,
impossible. But as I was kind of reading through it, I was like, man, I saw like different things highlighted. And I was like, oh, okay, I see where you were going with it, and I see why it's volume one. I can see the progression. So um,
Thank you, man.
even if it ain't, I mean, let's be honest. I put out an album, an EP, and I when I listen to it, I be like, I could have it different, or I could have actually wrote this
Yeah.
lyric this way, like
Right, right, right.
I
Yeah,
could actually fine tune that a little bit more. But ultimately, like it'll always be something as the creative.
yeah.
It'll always be something that we could change, critique, something we could improve.
Right,
Um,
right.
but back to what I was saying.
Yeah,
When did
yeah.
you discover this purpose? So like, cause this is your first time writing, but like, have you always written? Like, kind of take us on that journey.
Yeah, so I mean, I think I've written for a long time, but there were only certain moments in my life where I kind of realized that that's a gift of mine, and I don't say that um presumptuously. I say that as like, you know I discovered certain things, or I wrote certain things, and people thought it was clever, but I was probably at work, at UPS when I used to work there back in the day, or at Toys R Us. I used to work there way back in the day, and sometimes I would just show a person like, this is this thing I wrote to somebody, or what you think of this, and you know, people would think, oh, that's nice, and I think it was when I got around some people who were somewhat like-minded, like when I became an English teacher, and I started teaching alongside people who, some of them were Ivy League graduates. And when, I always say, like, I used to create my own like worksheets, like my grammar worksheets, vocabulary worksheets. I just create them from scratch. um Sometimes I would create an article from scratch just because I wanted, kids to be able to analyze what's the main idea, you know, discuss the central argument that the author is making. And I would just be like, I can't find the right article, so I'm just going to write an article and pretend that it came from the newspaper, and then ask kids like, hey, analyze this article, annotate it, answer these questions that followed. I want you to go back and find three pieces of evidence that support whatever you think the central argument is, right? But it would be mine, like I wrote the article.
Yeah,
And one time, one of my coworkers, who's English teacher that I respected highly, like saw me doing it. Like I was working on something, and we were like on a free period, And she was like, "Wait, what are you doing? You write these yourself?" And I was like, "Yeah, don't y'all like you always find the perfect article to like teach the concept you're trying to teach?" And she's like, "Yeah, like I will look until I find an article that goes along." And I'm like, "Well, if I don't find it, I'll just write it." And I was doing that for years and just throwing like getting rid of him, not even like saving all these original articles. I would write little short stories and be like, let's analyze what the main character was going through.
That's wow, man. So
Yeah.
you legit are like stumbling upon it. It wasn't something that you like really just like, okay, I know I want to be an author. You just kind of like was doing these written pieces and you kind of got there. So then the question I guess becomes, when do you feel like God called you to actually write this work? Or was this the I know this is the first one that you've like written, but like was this the first one you feel like God was leading you to write? Or did you had you started writing and then it got to there? Like how do we get here?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, so like I had I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher for a number of years, but on occasion I've taken breaks from teaching. I'm like, oh man, I don't know. So I took a break back in like 2019, and I took a job like at a youth detention center. Um, and I was and first of all, it was a wild job. Let me just say, but it was it was so many incidents going on. So one time they were trying to figure out what to do because these young people, God bless them, they were like breaking out of their dorms. They would literally jump like a correctional officer, take their keys, and like get out of the dorm and run to other dorms.
Hmm.
So they made a rule where it's like, all right, we need staff to like sit right by doors. Like nobody's gonna get keys except for the person that's next to the door. So they
Hmm.
sat me next to the door. I don't know if they thought like this guy's he's not tough enough to be with those other guys, but you gonna sit right by this door, right? So you got 12 hours. You
Okay.
know, they're gonna knock. You got to make sure it's one of us on the other side. If it's one of us, they verify. You open the door, let them through. So I'm like, 12-hour shifts. This is what I'm gonna be doing. So I started writing in that time. I just started writing to pass the time, and then I was doing this, and then the pandemic got real serious. Like it started to get to the point where being in New York, a number of people were just leaving here. A number of people that I thought were like indestructible, I guess. And I started posting some of the things I was writing, and my brother-in-law, Ralph, shout out to him. He told me like, "Yo, man, you need to like make that something. Like instead of just being random with your posts, give it a heading, create a Facebook group or something." And I felt like, well, I didn't have a specialty, you know, because I didn't have a lane, I didn't have like a thing that was like my thing. And you know, I think a lot of us get there at times where we feel like, what's my lane? Like, what do I bring to this? Like, what makes me different from anybody else? What I'm going to just call this the random writings of Jonathan. Like, so the only thing I could think of at the time was like, well, I'm a fighter because I went through some silly situations. Some of them I walked into myself. Others, the devil kind of caught me lacking, so to speak. And I said, well, I'm still here, and so I'm a fighter, and I called it the Fighters Challenge, and that evolved into a podcast. And it took me a few years, but in that process of compiling information and writing, I saw something, and God definitely um, gave me sort of like an ultimatum,
Mm.
and I got that like that touch that said, I've given it to you, and why are you sitting there? And it was a blessing. I think like one of my sisters said like, you know, what are you doing with all those papers? Like you got notebooks and notebooks and notebooks. What are you doing with it? And I was like, I don't know, but I got to put something together. And she said, put together what you got. Like, take some of
Mm.
those things that you got and just, talk to an editor. And I was like, true. So I
Hold
was
on, wait.
looking through that.
I want to. I want to interrupt you for a second because I think
Sure.
that's important for someone. Because sometimes creatives have the tendency to get stuck in, and I can't remember the phrase, but it's like a type of paralysis. It's like a little colloquialism. Um, but
Yeah.
it's this
Analysis paralysis.
analysis paralysis. Yes, I've been trying to remember that phrase for weeks. And it's this thing of like, I don't know what to do next, or is this good enough, or is this ready? Should I not? And they go back and forth, trying to figure out what to do, right? When sometimes all you need to do is just do it. Stop thinking about it and just do it. Like, don't you've written the
Facts.
song, put it together. Like you wrote the play. Just jump out there and do it. And if there's a lot of people who have written songs, written books, written plays, written painted pictures, or have drawn pictures and images and all these things, right? But they never put it out, or they never like recorded it, or they never put it on paper, or they never printed it, or they never finalized it, they never like authored it and finished it. It just stayed in idea or in imagination. It never got the chance to be part of manifestation. And when you do that, you are actually robbing not just yourself of the experience of being. Now, I'm not saying like God in the sense of trying to be Him, but I
Right.
believe that
You said.
creativity is one of the one ways that we can imitate and emulate God, because He spoke and then there was. He said, "Let there
Facts.
be," and it created. It created from Him
Yeah.
saying, "Let there be." This is creativity is a way that we are allowed to honor Him with what He's given us, and so it's one of those things that, like, when we don't
Yeah.
create, we're actually robbing him and robbing us and robbing others, because he doesn't get the glory.
Yeah.
We don't get the experience of expression. And then those who could be impacted don't get the chance to receive what we have to express. So what you just said was powerful. I'm
Yeah.
glad your sister was like,
Yeah.
stop thinking about it, just put it together and send it to somebody, like, take it to an editor. So I just had to stop right there because that was what you just said was
Yeah.
so powerful. But go ahead.
No, that's just no. So I mean, and what you said, my brother has shared with me something from a statement from Louis Farrakhan, and somewhere around that time period, and it said something to the point of he said God is like going to hold people accountable. And I take everything Louis Farrakhan says with a grain of salt, because I know, sometimes our beliefs, his and mine, don't overlap. But I do value a lot of his input. And he said something to the point of like, God is going to hold people accountable whom he has given things like time and energy and gifts that they never acted on. And that hit me, because I was like, wow, it's sometimes it's deeper than just, you volunteering your gifts and your talents. Sometimes it's deeper than that. Sometimes God is saying, I had use of those things that I gave you. It's not just something I gave you to play with. I had an agenda when I gifted you with those things. And we think of the scripture like the
Mm,
man with the talents. Sometimes we bury the talents. This comes from the book of Matthew. Sometimes we Sharik is funny. We bury the talent because we feel like it's insufficient. You know,
yeah.
and that's what happened in Matthew, and in that time, and when the person, the benefactor talks to the servant in Matthew 25, after he said, hey, I buried it, you gave me one talent and I didn't do anything with it, because what am I going to do with one talent? I mean, I'm not you, I'm not you, you got the power, you go and reap where you didn't sow. So he called him lazy and evil, and I realized, sometimes when you don't act on what God has given you, and you getting these signs, and God is allowing people to speak prophetically in your life, um, it is it is not something that's just like a, God is not going to just say, oh well.
Right.
because sometimes the things that you're praying for, like blessings, like God, I need you to do this, God, I need you to do that, and He's like, so you let me get this straight, you not acting on what I actually gave you, but you still begging me. So you're not investing what I gave you, but you're still. So I think when I was reading, just to go back to what I was saying, when I was reading all these notes that I had, it was a lot of powerful. To me, I thought it was powerful because it was blessing me. I was reading things that I forgot, notes that I forgot, and in the midst of that, I really felt like I feel like this is best illustrated through a story, and I wanted to incorporate things that I experienced with things that I had heard from other people who are believers and who are trusting God to do great things and have committed their lives to Him, and at the same time, people who will keep it a stack, so to speak, and say, "Hey, I felt convicted to go after God, but it wasn't the going after God; it was the getting over me and getting over my habits and getting over my um, insecurities." And sometimes it was feeling like, how am I going to get to you if I can't get over me? And for a lot of people, including myself, I had to try to get to him before I got over me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Before I got completely over me, I had to start making my way to him. I had to make my way to him while still haunted by, confronted by, plagued by all types of stuff. And I had to go before him like, yo, like this is who you called, man. You called me to write, you called me to do different things, and you know what I was dealing with.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and so I started to embody that in the character, I really wanted to do. I tried to give that character everything I had and everything I didn't have, like everything I heard.
No, wait. I gotta stop you right now, Josh. I gotta stop you because you get into my questions. You get too deep into my questions. Come on out. Come on out. Come on out. Come on out.
Wapo,
Wait a
wapo.
minute, dog. First of all, these comments are going wild. They said getting over me. Cause yeah, I'm gonna circle back to that point in a second because I have a question for that one. I think there is something valuable in what you said about getting over you. And I think sometimes, even as a mature believer,
Yeah, yeah,
we get so comfortable in being who we have created, right? You know,
yeah, yeah.
I come from see, I don't really like doing this kind of stuff.
Testify.
I come from my grandfather was Kojic.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
he's originally Baptist, but my mom was, I guess my mom technically, I guess, is first generation Kojic. So
Right.
I'm
Okay.
second generation Kojic, right? All I know really is Church of God in Christ on my mom's side. My dad's side
Right.
is Southern Baptist. Um,
Okay.
and one of the things I noticed is, and if you're watching this and you identify with this and this, you feel like I'm talking about you. I'm not calling out anyone. I'm just speaking in general terms, which I don't really like to do. But sometimes in these larger organizations, people get so stuck in this facade or persona they
Yeah,
have created, and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like the title that I hold and the things that I do. Right. So I sing. When I was in coaching, I sang in the national church. I got to sing behind all these great artists. I got to
Praise
lead and do
God.
all these cool things, right? And so some people walk around as if that's the badge of honor and as if that's who they are, right? But the truth of the matter is, when life gets hard, when life gets to lifing, that stuff, them
Yeah,
badges that I had when I paid the 25, 35, $45 to be on the choir to sing, because that's what you do, you have to pay or do to get on the choir. That them badges didn't help me when my boss is getting on my nerves, or when I need to bill money, or when I came back from AIM and I had to make sure my lights were still on, or all these different things. Like,
yeah,
and so sometimes we get really caught up in the persona, right? And God is actually coming for who we think we are. He comes
mhm.
for who we have created we are, right? When when
Right,
when your friends, your family think, oh, this is such this type of person, or
right.
this, he's this kind of person, or that's kind of like, they have these labels they put on us, and then we kind of feel like we have to live up to these standards that man created, that God never
Yeah,
called us. God never called me it's so funny because my mom, y'all don't see her mom, and I mention this often. She's always watching because she's a part of the reason that we have this. Um,
Yes, God.
she said to me, during the right before the pandemic, I said, Mom, I don't know that I'm going to sing. I think I need to take a break from doing praise and worship for a little while. She was like, you can't do that, and I was like, no, God has called me. I was like, I feel like He's calling me to take a break, and so
Mm,
after we're having a conversation. She said, but God has gifted you to do that. I said, I know, Mom.
mm,
And what God told me in the pandemic, after everything was shut down, we couldn't do praise and worship. He said, I didn't call you a praise and worshiper. I called you to lead people into worship, but I didn't call you with the label. The label is what people gave you because it's
mm,
you. And so it helped me to realize that what I do and who I am don't have to be synonymous. The action
mm.
is the same thing. An action is not an identity.
Right, right, right,
A
right,
lot
right,
of times we find ourselves being who we say we are and what we do. And so people says, I am a singer. No, I sing. I am a
right.
singer, but I like to identify myself as as someone who sings. I'm professional to sing. Why? Because I don't ever in my mind, in my psyche, in my soul, in my spirit, I don't want to ever get so glued to this concept of, well, I am Cheston the Green, the gospel
Hmm.
singer, the personality, the advocate for mental health, and all these things.
Hmm.
I can't just be who God made me to be, and that was in His image. And so I think when you said getting over me, it resonated. It rung strong in me because I think as we grow and mature, life gonna start showing you that like who you used to be, you can no longer be.
You
And
just
there are
can't.
times,
Don't work.
you know, yeah, it doesn't work. That idea you talked about in association, I can't always associate in those same places, and it don't always have to be sin. I don't know why we always feel like it's got to be something about the club or something crazy. Like it could just be you just hit a
Right.
different circle of people. Like so, yeah, it's
Absolutely.
really important to realize that like there is growth and change, and there are there's so much more to life and to who you are and who God has called you to be, that doesn't have to be directly connected to what you do in church or what you do on a stage or what you do in front of people or even what they pay you to do, like what you do on your 9 to 5.
Mm.
So I love that you said getting over me. I think if a lot more people, especially, I'm only speaking to believers because I know that people who don't have Jesus Christ may not have the capability or the wherewithal or the tools to be able to like get over themselves. But I know that I was raised in a family when I was a kid. I had to fast, so fasting helps you
Yeah,
get over yourself. Fasting helps humble you.
for
Fasting helps
real.
bring you back to your knees to be like, not my will, but your will be done. Because when you're
Yeah.
hungry and your aunt tell you, eat the pack of crackers because you ain't get no meal until we get back home, and you done fasted since the night before.
Oh,
It's a
Jesus.
humbling experience, man.
Mm. That's a heartbreaking situation.
And
I
look,
just saw that right there.
and
I
then
was like,
to add insult to injury, she took us to the mall. So we thinking we going to the mall to go eat. And she's like, oh no, 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 no.
oh,
Yeah, I got them crackers and cheese right there. That's for you to eat till we get back to the house.
uh-uh.
I
Of
just
all
never
the
forget
wrong
it.
places.
Hey, Ape, that was for you. But no, man, that was really good when you said getting over me. Man, that's powerful. I want to take a quick pause and I want to talk about the book. We've
Yeah.
been talking about the book, but I want you to tell me like where can we get the book? Give us some more information about the book because we got about 15 more minutes left, and I want to make sure people know everything there is to know about Lock In.
For real. So right now I wanted to go strictly digital. So I wanted to go strictly digital until the summer, because I wanted to change, considering changing my printer, the company that prints my book. Um, I'm mulling it over because there's certain things I wish they could do better. I hope you like the quality of the book. Like the even the okay,
It's
good, good, good.
I like the feel of the book. I have a thing about books. I actually I don't often buy books because I
Yeah.
listen to them more so just because it's easier for me and my ADHD. But
Okay.
when I get a book, I want it to feel like something. And I don't know if you notice every time I hold it like this, I feel it, my fingertips.
Thank you. Well, I mean, I wanted that, and I love that. They pretty much, for the most part, for the most part, did exactly what I wanted them to do. But I was like, I think I want to, consider somebody else. So it would be the same quality, but I'm shopping a new one, but it's now available digitally on all platforms. So please go on Amazon or wherever you shop for digital books. If you can, please go to order it digitally. I think digital reading is slept on, but that's the way of the future. I've had college classes where the professor just let me in, and there was already an assignment due, and I had to teach myself how to read a digital version of a book. Um, because I'm used to the old school, but my wife is saying something that's very true. Yes, regardless of what, there will be physical copies of my book by late July.
Okay.
So physical books like the one you have in your hand, and you can pre-order it from my website right now, jonathanmcgeebooks.com, and you can pre-order it so that by the summertime you can have it in your hands. But if you just want to get reading on it right now, whatever your favorite digital book supplier is, if it's Amazon, if it's Barnes and Nobles, there's like another one called Scribd. If you just Google Jonathan McGhee lock in, a website will pop up where you can get it digitally, because it's pretty much on every digital platform
Okay.
where books are sold. But thank you. Yes, that is a website where you can pre-order a hard copy if you just want to have a hard copy of the book, a physical copy that you can put in your purse, in your back pocket. Um, yeah, you can go to jonathanmcgeebooks.com and pre-order it, and it'll be available in the summer. Oh yeah, uh, I think Sharika just pointed out you added the extra H. That's a common thing. That's a common. uh, Yeah, so you probably put JOH in.
JON.
Yeah, some people go JOH in. I don't know if that's what you
I
put in
think
the.
she just misread. Sharika, you just misread it because I got. I read it for the. Oh, she was spelling it for the people. I was about to say, wait a minute. Hey, mom, can you put the link back up? And just we're gonna leave the link up for the remainder of the live. Thank you, Sharika. Yes, most people. It wasn't
Oh,
me.
thank you, Sharika. My fault.
So I wanna share this, and then we're gonna jump back into it. So the other thing
Please.
I do like about the book is that there's like it's a story, right, y'all? So
Yeah.
it's part one, and then it's part two. So part two is the what he calls the tactical. What does it say? Tactical approaches, chapter by chapter, tactical approaches. So it gives the feel of like a devotional. So it's got like write up and then questions that you can answer. Y'all, I can tell he's a teacher. So it says chapter one, live purpose ready. Then he has the scripture, be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. First Peter 1 and 8. And so then it has a little short write up, and then after that, it has, 1, 2, 3, it has 5 questions.
Questions.
So it's just like, a very easy read. And it's something that I feel like every young person, I mean, you gotta be young, you could be youthful, you could just be,
Yeah.
sorry, Sharika, I apologize. I already apologize, Sharika. I had to look to make sure, because my ADHD get going. So I looked at the book and read it, typed it as I went. No, you spell your name like my cousin Jonathan spells his. And so I was
Okay. Okay. Cool.
anyway, but McGhee, I have a cousin whose last name is McGhee, and I was like, let me not misspell McGhee. So I was like reading
Ah. Yeah.
the actual type it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna get back into these questions because we only have a few more minutes. Y'all
Yeah.
been before I ask another question, have y'all been enjoying this interview? This interview been good. Y'all get some
Oh,
claps
bless you.
in the comments. So I'm gonna jump into because you kind of started going down this road. You start
Yeah.
talking about the character Curtis.
Hmm.
Tell me, like, how does Curtis and Jonathan's life parallel? And you don't have to tell. Michelle said, "I'm ready for a new book." Come on and prophesy here. She said she ready for a new book.
It's
So
on
come
the
on.
way. I
Oh
don't hold
wait,
you. It's on the way.
after this, I'm gonna say this now, so I don't have to call you later. Have you thought about doing this, putting it on Audible?
Yes.
Okay, great.
So I'm going back and forth between Audible and my next book, because I was like, do I want to invest in the studio time and all of that, or do I just want to, work on my next book? So,
I know a studio that's not gonna cost you much. Yep, you do. Just go ahead and
oh,
knock.
then we're gonna chop it up for real, for real. Like we gonna get to the bottom of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not gonna cost you much at all. Praise ye the Lord. All right, so
Bless
tell us,
God.
how does Jonathan and Curtis, how do y'all lives parallel?
A lot of things Curtis went through, I went through personally, and that's like from being a pastor's kid to being a college student, and um, you know, you'll see that Curtis deals with some insecurities early on in life. And I always say to people nowadays that a lot of what God is getting us over, or what God is helping us to navigate through, is things that we've experienced, that drew us, or pushed us into lifestyles that aren't Him. So we learned how to cope with insecurities through whatever, through drugs, through alcohol, through promiscuity, whatever we learned to cope with. Um, um, was probably, or was likely, or could have been the result of dealing with insecurities.
Mm,
Um, and very oftentimes, we could have avoided certain things if we just had the right person to talk to. Be it a therapist, be it a relatable, praying person, and but instead we took a route, maybe an unhealthy route, a toxic route. And when we have these convictions, when you have these moments in life where you really, your heart is pricked, and you really want to say yes to God, it at that point you've already been built up a wall against God, against your best self, against so much. And even when you start to make progress, you get tempted, and sometimes you fall and fail. And so Curtis experiences those things. I've experienced those things. Um, Even the cockiness, I had that. Curtis, you'll see in the book, Curtis, when he does overcome some things by the power of God, or when he starts to make some moves towards the things he believes God has called him, he has such a sense of pride
mm,
that it sometimes makes him feel stronger than he actually is. And he has to learn the hard way how to navigate in this new life. Just because you have a new life doesn't mean old issues won't still confront you, doesn't mean that you don't still have to now learn how to live this new life. You know, it's,
yeah,
so a lot of that I went through. There were certain things I would say that where his experience and my experience differ, is because in a lot of ways I feel like Curtis, and it's a character that like I said, if it wasn't my own life, it was people I've spoken to, other people that I felt like I don't want to just limit it to me, but I need to create a character that represents me and a bunch of other dudes I know, a bunch of other preachers, a bunch of other sinners, whatever you want to call us, former sinners, what we went through. So I really wanted to sort of like take people through the process of maybe being in the church, or knowing certain things, being taught certain things from your childhood, and yet finding yourself in a totally different place. And
yeah.
and the tactics, just to speak to that briefly,
Hmm.
I think the tactics are like, I think Curtis looking back at it and saying to himself, all right, I want to live for God. I know God wants me to win. I know God, has great things in store for me. But I can't just be like, I can't be irresponsible.
Hmm.
I got to be like you were talking earlier when you said, not all the time is it sin,
Hmm. Right.
right? But sometimes it's not the sin that we're trying to avoid. It's the four steps ahead of sin. Like once you recognize your patterns, and it's like, I keep going back into that because I allowed this thought to manifest into that thought, and that thought to manifest, and then this thought,
Yeah.
and then that's when I get weak, and eventually that's when I fall back into those sinful traps.
Yeah.
But it don't just start with sin;
Yeah.
it starts with certain other things, and so I have to navigate those things. Like I got to learn how to deal with. Um, I have to learn how to deal with maybe issues I had with people on my job because I know that once that happened, a little anger grows, and then if I'm not careful, I start talking about it, and then if I'm not careful, I start really thinking about it, and after a while, there's a blow up,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then I feel ashamed of the blow up, and so now it takes me back into the that weed habit
Hmm.
that I never really learned to let go of, and
Hmm.
I'm trying to get over it, but I need to learn how to like way before I get to that weed, I need to learn how to deal with that little angry moment that I had. And
Yeah.
so that's why I got to be tactical. I got to recognize those pathways that keep leading me back to that person that I'm no longer affiliated with.
Yeah. It's like managing your thought life. I often say
Indeed.
when you don't manage your thought life, you find yourself in cycles and perpetuated systems where you will continuously slip and fall. I remember one time I was talking to some brothers, and
Yeah.
one brother asked a question. I forgot exactly what the question was. I said, "Well, the way I stay out of trouble is I tell myself, mind your business." I have a whole song. If I see something that's going to lure me away, I said, "Mind your business, mind your business." If you ever are with me and hear me singing that song, it's probably because something is I either want to say something I ain't got no business, comment on
Yeah.
something I got no business. It's me warring with myself of like, mind your business, Chester. That don't affect you. That don't have nothing to do with you. You know,
Yeah.
and I also as you were talking, I was hearing it was one thing I wanted to point out, but then you start talking about this other thing, but it collided with the first thing, which is
Oh,
pride.
I'm sorry.
No, 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 no,
Yeah.
no, 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 sorry, no apology necessary. We talked about pride, right? Curtis having an issue with pride. And
Yeah.
I think twofold, it showed up in both ways. One, when we aren't able to really face what the real thing is that we think we have enough control over our lives and our body and our emotions and all these things to be able to be in control of everything. And I don't need you to tell me what to do, but you do. We do. We all need God to tell us what to do. Every day we have to die to ourselves. Every day we have to say, "Oh, okay, Lord, guide my words, guide my mind, guide my mouth, my thoughts, guide everything about me, because I'm human. In my
Yeah.
humanity, I have a proclivity to want to go off. And go
Yeah.
off don't mean cussing somebody out for somebody. Sometimes go off is you might want to go off into dark thoughts of, I'll never be nothing, or I'll never amount to anything.
Mm.
I won't overcome. I don't know what your go off is, but off is anything except right. Then
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the will of God, right? So that's one part of it. But the other part of it is, and we see a lot of Christians do this. When you get saved, you start feeling good and you start feeling in control and you start feeling like,
Yeah.
I got this. And then that pride rises up. And it's like, oh, now I'm good enough to tell you how you need to come over here where I am. Because what I got is better than what you got, which is true.
Right.
However, what I have is not because I earned it, it's because it was given to me. It was a gift. And so I think sometimes, even in that, Christians get caught up in their pride because they feel like they have arrived. They feel like um, we say that we are not self-made, right? We say that we did not make us, but it was he wait. It is not we who have made us, but he who has made us, right?
Yeah.
But we don't act like that. We act like we self-made sometimes.
Can I quickly say real quick?
Sure,
I
sure.
I remember one time I was driving somebody's car and I almost got into a real bad accident because a car skid in front of me, and I was driving somebody else's car, and I remember the feeling I got, like I had to be careful. I was looking down at other things, like I was just unfocused, and like it hit me. This is not my car, and there's a different level of care that goes into managing something that has just been lent to you, and this new life in God is like it's a gift that you got to manage, and you can't handle it recklessly. You can't handle it like, oh, this is something that I could just pick up and put down whenever I want to. I made this. This is mine. You know, once you remind yourself, this is I got to return this, or I got to answer for
Woo!
this.
I'm about to hang up. I'm about,
No,
I'm,
I'm just saying.
I'm about to end the broadcast.
No, but you know that for real. You sparked that, man. That and it's real. That the pride that we think sometimes we have a right to walk around with. To me, just really represents us not being mindful of this is something that God, in His grace and mercy, has placed in your hands. Things even like your time or your talents or your abilities. You are a manager of those things. You're not the I might call myself a creative, but even my creative tendencies or my creative talents are something that was given to me because every gift uh, it comes from the Father.
Yeah,
Every gift every good and perfect gift comes from the Father. So, you know, learning how to be a manager is like a lifelong process, and being remaining mindful of that, is so important.
Jonathan, that was so good. Man,
God
that was
bless
so
you.
good. That was so good. Y'all, if you are a creative, or if you're not a creative, but you know a creative who you feel like could benefit from hearing this tonight, feel free to share this. This is on Facebook. It doesn't come down, it stays up. So if you're watching it, you can go and you can actually just hit the share button, or you can tag somebody. You can send it to, if you hit the share button, it gives you options of how you share it. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on Facebook and you don't know how to share from Facebook, you can go over to my YouTube channel, Cheston D. Green. You can subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, get notifications for everything. Ding, ding, ding. In the process, you can go where it says lives, because it'll say like videos. It'll have all these options, playlists, but it'll say live or lives. You can click on it and you can share this one in any of them. This is season 2. So you can share any of them. Jonathan, that was so good. I legit, I'm stuck. um, we are on loan, and the things that we have are not. We don't have them of our own accord. I'm gonna say this, and then we can end it. When I wrote, so I talked about the shirt already, but there's the lyric on the shirt. Your love is my therapy. It's a part of a lyric from my song called "Show Me." And
Okay.
I
Okay.
I actually did not. I can't take full credit of writing "Show Me." I actually dreamt. I like literally dreamed the song "Show Me."
God
Woke
is
up
so
in the
good,
middle of the
man.
night, wrote it, and I said, God, I'm gonna go back to sleep, because I was trying to like write it. Like I literally woke up at like 2 in the morning trying to like write it. After I had so much of it down that I knew God had said in that moment, I was like, all right,
Yeah.
God, I gotta figure out the rest of this. So I like start flipping through my Bible. I pull out my phone. I'm in the dark. I'm using the light on my phone to read the scripture instead of just turning the light on, because I didn't really want to wake up. But I had this like powerful song that like was saying something to me. And I stopped and I said, wait a minute. God, I'm going back to sleep. If this is something you gave me and I'm not just dreaming, it'll come
Yeah.
back to
Yeah.
me in the morning. Close the Bible, turn my Bible app off, turn my sleep thing I use back on, went back to sleep. Woke up the next morning, start brushing my teeth, and I literally start humming the song. And I said, what is this I'm humming? And I was like, the song I wrote last night. And so I was able to finish writing it later, but it really was a song that God gave me. And I said that to go back to what you said. I don't own these gifts. It is one of the top stream songs that I have on my playlist right of my music right now. It's not something that I can take credit for and saying like it's mine. No, God gave it to me. He let me hear the sound. He told me how to describe it to the producer. So much so that when I went to the studio recorded with my vocal producer really didn't have much to tell me, because he knew the Bible, what the song was supposed to be, by the way I described it. But I described it how God gave it to me. These gifts are not ours, y'all. It's his. So we got to remember that, and we have to be careful, because my grandmother used to say this: you keep on trying to hoard your gift or not use your gift, and God gonna take it from you and give it to somebody else. And she used to say that to my cousins a lot. And some of my cousins have the most beautiful voices, but they allow fear and
Mm.
timidity and anxiety to strip them of their ability to do what God actually created them to do.
Woo.
And if you allow fear, timidity, and anxiety to strip you from the ability that God created you with this ability. Y'all can say what y'all want to about Beyonce. Yeah, some of the stuff she say is crazy, whatever, this witchcraft stuff. But God gave her the ability to be able to vocally execute
Ability.
as she does.
Yeah.
That's a gift from God.
That's a gift.
So one way or another, you better use your gift and stop playing. If it's maybe your gift ain't singing, maybe it's right, and maybe it's doing something else. Maybe your gift has nothing to do with creativity, but use it. Don't sit on it. Don't like not share it, because there are so many other people who could benefit from your gift. There's so many other people who could be changed. And think about how many times you were blessed with somebody else giving you that gift. I can name, I remember hearing this person sing this song in church and it got me through. I remember hearing that person preach this message and it got me through. I remember this person just sharing with me about their life story and how they got me through. How
Yeah.
this person was just vulnerable and shared. How this person was transparent and shared. Like, you sharing your gifts is literally has the ability to change someone's life. I'm gonna say this and I'm really, really done. My old boss.
Now you're being coaching for real.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Nah, I'm good, Joe.
My old boss,
Yeah.
she and I were talking one day, and she said, Cheston, maybe I forgot how she worded it exactly, but this is I'm summing it up. She was basically saying, maybe whatever gift I got ain't like yours. Your gift is for the church. Maybe God ain't gave me no church gift. And I said, who said the gift has to be for church?
Right, right.
And she said, well, how else can I have a gift? I said, well, let me help
Woo.
you with something. I said, you've helped me keep a job, and now you've helped me get a job. I said, those two jobs have allowed me and afforded me the opportunity to be able to record music without suffering out of my own pockets. I said, so my music is going to be heard by people because of your willingness to help me get a job, help me create my resume, help me with my interview skills, help me refine my job skills. I said, you don't realize it, but you are affecting a generation just by doing what you're called to do. I said, and I really believe you're called to help people get
Yeah.
jobs. I watched this lady help people get jobs left and right. And so I said all that to say, no matter where you are in life, no matter where you are in your journey, do what God has called you to do, whatever that looks like, however that looks, and don't allow fear, timidity, and anxiety to strip you of the ability that God created for you. Jonathan, y'all, thank you so much, brother. Y'all go to the website, get his books. Y'all can go to my website, you can get a t-shirt. They come in different colors. They come in green. It's supposed to be heather green. It's black, it's pink, and it's this blue. We also have hoodies I think the hoodies may still be up there. Actually, they may not, but the hoodies will come back around for the fall, winter seasons. We will be back next week. I cannot think of who the guest is off the top of my head. Jonathan, man, this was powerful. Y'all share it with somebody you know, and I hope you all were blessed by this. And thanks for tuning in to ID Talk. Sorry we went over on my 1 hour, but that's what it is.
Bless you, man.
All right, peace, y'all.
Peace, peace.